Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So I am coming back to episode 4 of the Kerbalist, and we've been trying a bunch of mods. And last night I added a bunch of new mods. Let's quickly go over those first, so we can kind of talk about what they do, and then we'll kind of get into the rest of it. So obviously we've already talked about Kerbalism Simplex. Adds some resource management stuff. Adds more intense science. Adds some sort of stress problems that you have to solve, with some of these other mods are going to help us with. We talked about KOS. It's a programming mod. Lets you program your own autopilot. We're going to be really getting into this over the course of this campaign. Kerbal Planetary Base System lets you build bases for the ground with science and greenhouses, stuff like that. Astrogator helps you plan launch windows for Homan transfers. Better burn time helps you do suicide burns and stuff like that. I haven't really used this too much yet, so I don't exactly know what it is. Since last time I added a few, I added ScanSat, which gives you a bunch of satellite parts that lets you create these sort of really detailed surface maps. It lets you figure out where biomes, edges are. It lets you figure out where resources are. This is going to be really important to planning some of these long-term missions, which is especially important in Kerbalism because we can't just pop down and click a button and collect all of our science in 30 seconds and then move on. Some of these things might take days, so planning is more critical. I added Waypoint Manager, which lets you set waypoints. MechJeb used to do this as well. I don't want to use MechJeb because I want to use KOS to do a lot of that stuff. But Waypoint Manager basically lets me manually select a point on a planet's surface that can then be used as a waypoint in KOS, so that KOS can, so we can write autopilots for rovers and stuff to target those waypoints. Stock-alike station parts is a really cool mod that adds a ton of station parts. It adds sort of small, medium, and big ones within the tech tree, including some centrifugal parts that let you create rotating habitats for artificial gravity, which is something that reduces stress in Kerbalism. Some of these station parts also include training centers, which lets you train astronauts. And so I'm a little bit tempted to turn on the astronaut skill difficulty setting again, which I think I'm going to do actually, because now we can build bases where we can bring our Kerbals to that can be trained without having to bring them all the way back to the Space Center. All right, next, immersion mods, free IVA. This is a really cool one I just discovered yesterday. Free IVA lets you get up and walk around inside of your spaceships as long as the parts are compatible, which a ton of them are. So we're going to be playing around with that a little bit today in our moon mission. Chatterer is something I had previously. It just makes some cool little radio sounds and stuff. Makes it feel a little more like a lived-in universe. And then visual mods, I already had Parallax, Scatter, and Eve. These all just have major improvements to the environment. Scatter adds a bunch of environmental stuff like rocks and trees and carbon and stuff. Chatterer is a typo that was supposed to be taken out of there. Excuse me. There you go. Waterfall, I haven't tried yet, just installed it a few minutes ago. It makes your rocket plumes better, and the Spectre Eve adds some additional configs to make the clouds and things better. Alright, long-term goals, max out science, build based on the Moon, Minimus, Duna, and Lethe. Maybe more of that, we'll see how it goes. Go interstellar with 100 Kerbals after maximizing the science tree in a habitat that they're happy to be in. And interstellar just means headed out of the solar system. Rules, all probes must be code automated with KOS without local Kerbals. That means if there's not a Kerbal in the same SOI as the probe, then we have to write code that runs it. This will come in handy today because we're going to be running some probes. However, we might be running them with Kerbals in orbit. We'll kind of see where we end up. In which case, we would not have to. We can still fly these probes manually. So I don't know if we're going to get too into KOS today, but we'll see what happens. All right. Yeah, let's get into it. So, first, I want to see which of the new parts are available. I think a lot of them get unlocked with the tech tree. Yeah, so still very little has these things. We just have our standard little modules. This one has a two-person module. I'm tempted to bring that one as the core of our ship. Yeah, so let's kind of get started here. So, we are going to be designing a mission to the moon. We're going to do a flyby, and then we're going to try to land a probe on it, I think, as well. This is going to be our core. This is one of the parts from one of the expansions. It can carry 2 Kerbals, which is why we need it. And I'm pretty sure... it has pressure. It is a pressurized habitat, which just adds a little bit of extra protection for our Kerbals. All right. Okay. So the main thing we want to be able to do is collect a bunch of science. Anything that's coming back to Kerbin with us has to be like samples from the science bay, for example, have to be storable inside of the vessel. This thing has a blader on the outside, so it can re-enter by itself, if I'm understanding that correctly. We could just leave the science dock bay on there, but I'm a little tempted to use it the way it's intended. So let's kind of see what we got here. Experiment storage unit. Barometer, mystery containment unit. This is the scan set. We're not going to use it in this one, however. Good to have it. This is kind of big. Sample capacity 9 slots. So this thing can be expanded. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give this thing as much capacity as possible. And we're gonna just try to take everything out of here and just store it in the thing. So let's kind of see what that will look like. So, in the moon, we're not landing with the science bay, just flying around. Space low, 54. Sample size is 4 slots. Okay, it has 4 slots. So there's 1. Okay, that should be plenty, I think, to take what we need. Okay, there's the hatch there. Put some science on here. I don't know if we really need this one. The barometer does not have much use on the moon, as far as I know. Yeah, so we just leave this one off. However, thermometer is definitely going to be important, as is the Geiger counter. Okay, we don't actually need this to be mirrored. So we're going to put our probe on top of here, basically. Alright, we need some parachutes. I also added the restock mod. I think I might have forgotten to mention that. Got the restock mod, which makes some of these parts look kind of different, kind of cooler, I think. Alright, got our parachutes for re-entry on there. This is a MUN cam. I'm realizing now that I forgot a couple of these, forgot some of these items here. Try a couple of these out, I think, while we're at it today. Okay. Got our parachutes on there. Don't think those block any windows. I don't want them to. Batteries, which I do not have a lot of right now. The other thing is, I don't know if this thing has a reaction wheel. That's definitely something we're going to need. So the reaction wheel, we're going to put a bunch of batteries in here as well. Let's see what else we can do. Quite a bit of battery control on here. Alright, so here's the planner. This should include, so this gives us a day of electric charge with, we're going to need slightly more than that, I think, but that's okay. This is crimp. Comfort is modest. Air gives us 4 days, so it should be plenty. Okay, I think that's actually looking pretty good. Alright, so first we just got to make sure we can actually get out of here, and we're going to test the free IVA mod a little bit as well. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Alright, so we're testing to see if we can get out of this thing to do an EVA in orbit, as well as when we land on return, obviously. So to do that, we are going to do the first test of the free IVA. So we're going to go into IVA. That's the EVA, of course. Alright. So, that was a little bit of a preview there. So what you can do in free IVA is you can hit Y, pop out of your seat, and in this little early command module, you kind of lay on your back pointing up, which means that as I pop out, I'm now walking around on what's the back of the module. You can see I can kind of see out the window there. You can see out the window over here, and I can hit that hatch button to go EVA. That's pretty cool, and that hatch is indeed unblocked, which is great. So we're going to just go ahead and board, and we're going to just recover this flight. Okay, we're now ready to design the rest of this mission. So, one other thing we want is to make sure we have enough power to do our final sort of descent. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 batteries here, and we're going to just turn those off so that we for sure have enough power to land. That's not good. Why is that not working? There we go. Same with this guy. We'll turn off the electric charge until we're actually ready to land. That gives us $1,700. So we should have plenty. Okay, so this is going to be the re-entry module. We'll land using these parachutes. We've got enough batteries to make that happen. We'll store all of the materials and science in here. Collect them in here. This is our battery and reaction wheel pack. We've got the science center here. We've got the goo experience on the side. We've got the radiation. We've got the thermometer. So I think that's all well and good for the science thing. And what I'm tempted to do for the initial slowdown is we can just kind of lose all this stuff. So we're going to take the thermal heat shield, pop that on there. Okay, so that's ready to go. Now what I'd like to do is kind of add this probe up here. Now let's see what we got here. That kind of feels like the one to go with. Those are kind of too big. Mass is 0.9 tons. Okay, that's definitely the smallest one. Don't think we got a better option than that right now. So we're just going to do a little. Okay. Actually kind of want to design this ship separately. So we're going to change this, call this MUN 1 for our first moon orbiter. And we're going to create a new probe core. So we got a little probe core here. What I'd kind of like to do is just a small little probe that can land. That's it. So what does that give us? So on the moon, that gives us 2,000 meters a second, which I'm pretty sure is more than enough to get what we need. To do that, we're going to go to a delta V map. got it. So if you ever used a Delta V map before, a Delta V map lets you know how much Delta V you need to land or leave any body. So you can see the moon from 14-kilometer orbit only needs 580 to land on. We don't need to take off again, as far as I know. So we're just going to use that. We're going to use that to get down there, and that'll be more than enough to do all of the maneuvering and landing that we need. Okay. Perfect. So we've got this tiny little probe. We're going to put some legs on it. Perfect. We're going to put some science on it, because that's really the key here. And we're going to put this communicatron 16 on it, because that's what we're going to do here, is we're going to land this thing. And then we're going to beam our results back with it. That's certainly got more range. I'm kind of tempted to use that. Okay, that's fine actually. Batteries, because this is not going to be cheap, so we're going to take a bunch of batteries. Don't have any slow result panels unlocked yet, which is one of the reasons we're doing this in the first place. This will all recharge on its way down. This thing can run this. Landed in biomes. Let's see if that works on the moon. Tight. Does in fact work on the moon. Doesn't give us much, but it gives us a little. Versus this one. Right. Does not have any options on the moon at all. So we're going with tight for sure. Okay. Then we are going to take... Interesting. These are some satellites we're going to want to be launching soon enough. Alright. Geiger counter. Okay, that should be enough to sort of land, give us some basic preliminary data. We're going to put a little camera on here, just because that feels kind of relevant to this, using this thing as a probe like that. And we'll show you how that works in a second. So, if I take this and let's call... What's a good word for this? Let's call it Ladybug 1 for our first little unmanned probe core. Save that. We're going to launch it. We're going to see if the camera works. He's gonna load and boomerang again, which is not my intention, but whatever. Alright. Okay. That's not it. Activate camera. There we go. So there's our little drone camera. That's kind of cool. Don't remember how to cycle through the cameras. Give me a second. Ah, there we go. Minus equals. That's pretty cool. So we're also going to make a rule, I think. Let's actually switch to that now. So try it out and see how we like that. That'd be kind of interesting. All right. So in that case, we're gonna want one more camera. That points down. We'll just see how we like this, I think. I don't know that we're gonna have to stick to it, but I do think it could be kind of interesting. Alright. Alright, so we got our little probe here. That's cool. Start retracted. We're gonna save that. We're gonna open our previous one, MUN. Then if I can remember how to do this. I'm going to take Ladybug 1 and I'm going to merge it in here, just like that. I'm going to set the root part. If I can remember how to do that, root. Now we got another probe here. Does the probe have a reaction wheel? That I don't remember. So now we're going to have to give it a little reaction wheel. Now we build the rest of our initial rocket. What we'd like to know is how much delta V can we get out of this in vacuum. $1,200 meters. All right, let's go back and look at that delta V map again. So the moon needs 310, 860 to come back. We're not going to be landed, but it's coming back from here. So that actually should be enough to get back. Little tight. Of course, we'll have lost the probe by then. That's plenty. Alright. So that's enough to get back from the moon. However, we also need to get to the moon. So we need to get from orbit 860, 310. It's about 870, 1170 to and from. So 20. Let's just say like 2400-ish. Let's add another one of these on here. Okay. This is all a little bit crazy to do without any struts yet. I think I might have been better off the way I was doing it before. Okay, so that gives us 2,000. Should be enough. With aero braking, that should be enough to get back. Okay, let's just kind of hope so. Because now what we're going to do is add another decoupler. Another fuel tank at a main engine. And we're going to do... I'm gonna do a few of these, I think. That gives us 1,600. So that's definitely not enough. That might be enough. That might be enough. Honestly gonna be pushing it, but a little limited in what I can do until I get some more parts and stuff. Okay, I don't know what just happened there, but that was not what I wanted. I appear to have lost everything, so oh well. Unless they don't really, well, yeah. Okay. That needs to be more. I don't have much of a choice here. It's gonna be fine because we don't actually have to circularize our orbit. We're just gonna do a flyby and drop the probe. Let's just kind of hope that that's true and that we can get back in one piece. Okay. Okay. So, first of all, let's just save this before we get too far. So we have these rockets go off first. Just move them down a little bit so we're not as limited. There we go. I don't really just want to be bouncing on that one nozzle right at the beginning. There we go. Put some fins on there as well. Classic. Big old wobbly rocket. These go out first. Ditch those. Light up the main engine. Ditch that. Light up the small engine. And then what do we do after that? After we light up the small engine, the next thing we'll be doing is ditching the probe. And then we'll be firing up the engine inside of the probe, which won't matter to the rest of the vessel, that's fine. And then coming back from Kerbin, we're dropping that, we're dropping everything else, and we'll be deploying the parachutes. Okay, that looks correct. This might be crazy to try to fly this. If it doesn't work, I might have to ditch the probe for now, but let's see how it goes. The last thing I want to do is I want to add a bunch more batteries down here because it should balance out the weight a little more. Okay, so there's my engine fairings, so I'm going to add them all right here. Need the batteries anyway because I don't have anything else yet. Hopefully that'll balance the center of gravity a little bit more. And then finally, I guess the last thing we need is some communications for the pod itself so it can communicate with the probe. We're going to do this communicatron 16. Let's put it like that. Probably gonna bust off the atmosphere, that's okay. Alright. I'm a little concerned about this, but let's see how she flies. Oh, last thing, crew. Jeb and Bill. I'm gonna replace Bill with Bob, just because it's nice to bring a scientist along. Launch. Let me actually check one thing first. Settings. So I'm turning back on. Alright, here we are in the vessel. Enabling SAS. And launch. Got a little bit of a bad feeling about this. It actually looks fairly stable so far. Should have maybe waited for the moon window so I don't have to circularize my orbit and stuff, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, there we go. That's kind of weird. This is definitely bad. Okay, so the problem is too much speed on those big booster rockets, I think. Alright. Well, we can work on that. Revert to vehicle assembly. Alright, so instead of taking these 6 big solid boosters, because there's no way to set the speed on those, let's do 3 of those. And then let's do 3 liquid fuel boosters. So these we can control our speed using the throttle. Go. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to light up all of these at once, being able to control the throttle. We're going to lift off. We're going to separate first the solid boosters. Then the liquid boosters. Okay. So going to separate the solid boosters, separate the liquid boosters, and then separate that one so we can absorb it. Alright. So that gives us decent amount. Well, we definitely fucked up the delta V calculations, but that's because we're in Kerbin still. Okay, I think this should do it actually pretty nicely. Kind of a weird looking rocket, but that's fine. Okay, I got some real wobble on there because those fuel tanks are so heavy. There we go. Shit. Alright, classic Kerbal space problems. Alright, well that's untenable. Yeah, that's the problem. We need these control surfaces. See if that helps at all, I guess. Yeah, definitely so far more stability for sure. We don't want to get going too fast though, because that'll happen. Alright. Alright, I think if we don't go above that speed, we can handle this. Otherwise, we might have to put swivel engines on all of those. It's just not the most stable or aerodynamic craft ever designed. Alright. Once more for the money. So I should try to keep around 270 until we get a little bit higher this time and just see if that works for us. I was going to quick save before the solid fuel runs out this time. So we have a little bit of an easy revert. There we go. Go for like 260, let's say. Okay, so far so good. Go a little bit faster now, but we're also getting higher into the atmosphere. It's also very good. Gonna start to turn just a little. Kind of top heavy, so I don't really want to turn too much. I always find these early Kerbal flights the hardest before you get struts or anything like that. There we go. Apoapsis is above. Now we got an apoapsis at 90. That's good. Gotta remember how to transfer all of these things into this main ship here. I don't know. We're just gonna have to do our best. We'll see if we'll see if this is enough to get me into orbit. I'm worried this little ship is definitely not going to be enough for what we need it for. It's okay. All right. Well, I don't think we got enough to go to the moon, but let's kind of just see what our options are here. Not even close. Alright. Honestly, kind of a failure. But maybe we can actually still launch our probe. And then land. Let's also just get a little higher. Do some science. We might have to do basically some more basic science before we can really... And just enough to get the struts, I think. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of space science stuff left we can do. That's fine. Alright. Let's detach the probe. Kind of just see what we can get away with. You guys are going to sit up here and do some science. Whatever science is sort of left, I guess. That's pretty cool. Okay. You can just do all this stuff. Yeah, fuck it. Might as well. You have quite a bit of Delta V, so let's just try to get to the moon with that. Why not? I slightly fudge my rules, but I figure we're within a few seconds of time delay, so I think this is sort of technically feasible. There's an intercept. All right, that's a pretty easy intercept, honestly. No, no autopilot. So this is gonna be fun. So it would have been a good time to bring my probe core, but maybe that can be for next time. Is a way to do precision mode, I'm pretty sure. I just don't remember what it is. I should Google it. I don't know if this is gonna work for us, you guys. okay. Okay, I think we got this. We need to switch to these guys and get them down lower. We should not have them riding through the thing that much. Okay. Good to know. How do I fly this from here? Waps this down nice and low. There we go. Should be safe. Meanwhile, we'll take this guy and see if we can still get that moon intersection. Alright, still looks good. Save. Warp here. Shoot. See if that's good enough, I guess. Yeah, lost power anyway. Well, learned some lessons here today. Alright, it's time to land our original ship. Alright, let's bring our poor little irradiated Kerbals home. Switch our batteries back on so we can do some science on the way down. Get some more science from this stuff at least. That's fine. Not gonna last long. we're not technically on the ground. That's a little problematic. There we go. That should do it. I don't really have anything. Oh yeah, there we go. Got some science from that. Alright, this is going to be our goal for next time, is this one. This gives us this launch stability enhancer, it gives us better decouplers, and it gives us the most important thing, which is the strut connector. Without that, we're gonna have a hard time launching any bigger rockets without just blowing up. Alright, I think that's it for tonight, though.